All right, are
Okay,
we Deval? We live?
we are live and
All right,
direct, actually.
live and direct.
Live.
A pretty kind of eventful week in terms of
Great,
showbiz, Devaldo. We're going to kind
great.
of speak a little bit about that. We'll get to that, folks. So don't you worry. But thanks for downloading another episode of the Flixters. So this is episode 183, where we're going to be reviewing the big movie of the week, which is Morbius. So no laughing. We will get to that in a moment. I'm also going to throw in a review of I wanted to balance it out. So we got a kind of a vampire-ish type of a
Mm,
movie, well, vampire-ish type of a character. I thought, let me throw in a werewolf movie, Deval. So we're going to be speaking about this movie called The Cursed. So
yeah,
if you stick around for that one, folks, you might enjoy that one. But generally, yeah, we're just going to be doing the usual stuff. So we're going to be throwing in some, obviously, film reviews, some movie news, and we're going to be checking out what's out on streaming and trailers. So stick with us, folks, and hope you enjoy the show. All right, Deval. So first things first, who we shouting out?
couple of shout outs this week. First one goes to Ciel Noir
Mm,
3 or Ciel Noir 3. Catch her on Instagram. Really, really good motivator, personality, fitness, all that kind of holistic, well-being approach.
love it.
Go check out her page on Instagram. She's always bigging us up. She put out a story actually involving the Flixters, so we really, really appreciate that.
I love that.
Ciel Noir or Ciel Noir Trois, because it's French, isn't it? So yeah, big shout out to you. Second shout out goes to King.Selani. Again, another person who's really positive on Instagram, musician, performer, everything literally. Go check out her page. Got some really, really good positive stuff on there, as well as art, I believe, as well. So got some really
Nice.
talented people that
Yeah,
interact with the Flixters. Let us know
I
what your
love that.
talents are, and let's all,
Yeah.
all get together.
Devout,
Let's all
apart from
talk.
flexing your pecs over there, can you play an instrument or anything? Can
I
you?
can play one instrument. I stopped playing it though, but yeah, I used to play one instrument. I used to play one instrument. I used to play it a bit too much, and then I hurt my hand.
Answers on a
So put
postcard,
down the
folks.
trumpet. Put down the trumpet.
Uh, let's see answers on a postcard, and let's see if you can guess what Deval was referring to there. No, actually, no, that's good. You know what? Playing your trumpet is healthy. It's good for you.
There you go. You know.
You know, doctors say even when you get older, man, you got to play your trumpet. You got to
Mm-mm. Every now and then, you let out a little woo.
Oh shit! All right, listen. If you want to be a shout out on the show, then please do get in touch with us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're watching. You know what? Give us a film review. We love reading, listening to what people have to say about movies and the stuff that they hate and all that sort of stuff. So if you wanna get in touch with us, and we would love to do that. All right, let's get on to movie news now. Deval, it's been
Hmm.
60 years since Bond has hit our screen. So it's been a while. James Bond is
Yeah.
one of those characters. It's just kind of like, the guy just won't go down, right? Well,
Nah.
actually, no. Well, this last movie he did go down. So
Yeah.
so we'll have to wait and see now over the next couple of years that who they're gonna the rumors are going to start coming in. I guarantee you towards the end of this year we're going to start hearing about who's going to play the new James Bond. Is it going to be female? Is it going to be a person of color? Because
Hmm.
that is an option. That's something on the
So you
table.
got what? Jane Bond. You got Jerome Bond. Jerome.
Exactly.
Jerome
Exactly.
Bond. What other bonds can we fit in? We got
Mohammed Bond, who knows,
Mohammed
man?
Bond. There you go, mate.
You
Honestly.
just don't know, man. Jamal Bond, I should have said, actually. That would have been funnier.
Oh yeah.
But listen, so the news here is, though, Deval,
Mm.
Amazon, what are they doing with this, man?
Yeah, I think a little while ago, I think you might have mentioned it, or we mentioned it. One of us mentioned it that Amazon had, tried to get the rights to, MGM, Metro Goldwyn Mayer with the Lion,
Yeah.
kind of thing. The rights to James Bond, and it looks like they obviously that happened,
Yeah.
and a James Bond TV show is coming to Amazon,
Damn.
Amazon Prime. I mean, TV show James Bond. I don't know how people feel about
Yeah.
that. People love James Bond to be,
On
a
the big
movie
screen.
situation, every now and then, getting James Bond, but on a TV, I don't know, Amazon, I don't know,
And And
I'm
what
not really
about
up to it.
yeah, exactly. And what about like the whole movies? Like, oh, do you reckon we're going to be able to get to stream them on Amazon?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, once it's fully, established on Amazon, I think we'll get the whole catalog of James Bond movies on Amazon. But I just don't feel James Bond as a TV show. I know,
Yeah,
Jason Bourne movie franchise. They went
yeah,
on to streaming with Treadstone, I think it's
yes,
called.
Headstone. Yeah, that's
But
right.
I don't know, man. James Bond is a sacred, intellectual property. People love a bit of Bond. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. No, totally, absolutely. Just on that, Lashana Lynch, who was the kind of the new double O. Well, she was 007 in the movie. She um she won the BAFTA just recently, just
Mm,
about 2 3 weeks ago or something.
yeah.
Best newcomer, and I was just like, or the best debut or something like that. And I was like, but Lashana Lynch, she's been acting for years, hasn't she?
Yeah, 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 yeah. She's been in quite a few things actually, which it all escaped my mind, obviously. But
Yeah,
but she's
but I
been in
mean,
quite a
yeah,
few. Yeah,
yeah,
she's a good
award
actress,
winning
and also
basically.
stage as well. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So listen, yeah, folks, we'll keep you posted on that one, and if obviously James Bond does pop up on Amazon Prime, we'll let you know. Okay, Bill Sarsgaard Devaldo.
Mm.
Just remind me again, what have we seen him in? He's been in quite a few
It.
things.
He was an
It
it. He's got the eyes. Bill Skarsgård, part of the Skarsgård family. We're going to see
family.
Alexander Skarsgård in The Northman. That's coming out in a
Yes,
couple of weeks.
I want
We
to
see
see
the
that
older Skarsgård in Avengers.
in
The
Thor.
Dr. Selvig. But yeah, so Alex Skarsgård, who we've seen in It, as well as the other TV show that was a bit weird. I can't remember what it's called, but
What We Do in the Shadows.
no, it's a TV show. I think it
No.
was a Stephen King thing. I think Terrence Howard was in it. Some sort of weird place. I think it was Stephen King as well.
Okay.
I can't remember, but yeah. Anyway, either way, yeah. Uh, Bill Skarsgård is supposed to be playing the Crow in a reboot. I mean, the Crow. We saw Brandon Lee obviously tragically
Yeah,
passed away.
man.
Some sort of
On
mishap,
set.
some sort of accident on set. So that came out in 1994, all these
Yeah,
years ago.
man.
Bruce Lee's son. So yeah, Bill Skarsgård. Yeah, he's a really, really unique actor. He's got one of those faces that are very, very adaptable,
Yeah.
malleable faces, very character-driven, abilities. So whether he can carry off the Crow well or not, I actually believe he can. I think he's the sort of
Mm.
actor who could have even played the Joker. Uh,
Yes.
so he's got that kind of ability to be
Yeah.
really, either wacky. I actually also think he's the sort of person that could be the next Beetlejuice if Michael Keaton wasn't Beetlejuice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do this. As long as
Yeah,
it's a
it'd be
good
good.
film, then it could work. Just don't
You
do it for no
know,
reason.
they were this close. Well, Aquaman was this close to being the Crow because
I remember.
yeah, he remember he
Mm,
was he kind of put out some
yeah,
pictures out on Instagram and like
yeah,
him in makeup, and then all of a sudden I was like, yeah,
he would have been
great, we're
good.
going to see the Crow,
Mm, mm,
and all of a sudden he goes, it's not happening anymore.
yeah, he would have been
Just
good, I reckon.
creative differences on
Mm,
studio, actor, director, some dynamic, some bullshit happened, and then they were like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. So great
mm.
if they do bring that to the big screen. That would be all. I'm all there. Now, listen, Devout. We let's just start mentioning this, right? Okay, so Oscars happened, and it's the biggest night in movie, all the stars get together, they're
Yep.
celebrating movie, and this year was actually quite kind of different because it was like about I think they wanted to go with something which was like, we want to celebrate the movies because it was the first Oscars where you could actually go there in person. So
Yeah.
for the last couple of years they never had like, this whole in-person thing. So there was a lot riding on this Oscars
Mm,
show. Oscars for the last couple of years, Deval, the numbers, like the viewership has been declining. It's been
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And all I got to say is, after this year's Oscars, I'm pretty sure the viewership just basically skyrocketed because, lo and behold, there was it was just like unheard of, this whole thing about what happened. And you know what? When I first saw the footage, I was like, no, this is all set up.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
this can't be true.
Mm,
Will Smith goes. I mean, if you don't know, I mean, where have you been, by the way? Will Smith goes up on stage after Chris Rock has kind of made like a few jokes and everything, and he slapped Chris Rock on the face, sits back
mm.
down again, and there's this kind of like to and fro and everything. I mean, look, you don't need to listen to me talking about it. Go online and watch the footage. But the aftermath of this, Deval, is he's now resigned from the academy.
Yeah, yeah, it's mad. I mean, I think I'm not surprised. I think something should have happened. You can't. The message can't be that you can go ahead and do this and it's okay. I even
Yeah,
think that after the slap, he shouldn't have been allowed to carry on, and he got that big standing ovation from people and stuff. I don't think that's okay. There should be no
that's
environment
crazy.
where because I don't think obviously Chris Rock mentioned the GI Jane joke to Jada Pinkett Smith, and he's already mentioned he didn't know she had alopecia and stuff. And of all the jokes that you've heard, remember Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes, the way he joked about people, that was much much worse. But
Imagine
whether,
that.
exactly whether you agree with it or not, I think going and slapping someone in the face shouldn't, you can't do that. And I think it's right that there are repercussions, and he I guess steps down from that membership, which means he
Hmm.
can no longer get an Oscar again, I think. But
He
I guess
can't
if
be
he gets
nominated or something.
there you go. So I guess if he can keep his Oscar, because that even might get taken away, I'm not sure. But if he gets to keep it, I don't think he cares because he's not going to win another one maybe. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just the whole event was crazy. But yeah, you're right. This event has made people more interested to see more Chris Rock. His stand up show that he's currently doing is sold out.
yeah.
People want to see more Will
He's
Smith
coming
work.
here in August.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just a whole crazy situation from two legends that they couldn't sort it out with words.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just sad to see.
And the crazy thing is, he was laughing at the jokes as well. If you go online and see the
Yeah,
footage, he
yeah,
was actually laughing. And I think there's a point where he looks over to his wife,
yeah.
and she's obviously pissed off, upset, or whatever. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go over and do something."
It's
But it's just the
crazy.
manner in which he
Yeah,
does it.
Jada Pinkett. I mean, I reckon that whole situation, the red table talk, and
Red table
all that
talk.
sort
Oh,
of thing is just. Yeah, I think Will Smith he's going through a madness. He's not.
yeah,
I don't think he's in charge in that
yeah.
household, and he's just not. I think she's just she's got him by the balls, and
She's
he's
got
he's
him by the
acting too
balls.
emotionally, and he's
Yeah.
just
Maybe
things to
she's got
prove.
something on him because he can't get out of the relationship. Maybe she knows
Mm,
something, and like or I don't know, but it was just kind of crazy. But just like not taking away from obviously the good stuff.
mm.
Coda, I reviewed that on last week's episode. that
Exactly.
that ended up winning the
Yeah.
flipping, like, the
Good
best
shout.
picture.
Yeah.
It won best picture, and it won best supporting actor, and then
Yeah.
it won something else as well. So great night for Coda. If you haven't
Really
seen the
good
movie,
night.
go check it
That's on
out.
Apple TV right now, isn't it?
Apple TV.
Yeah.
So use that subscription. And
Mm,
another thing, I want a big shout out. Riz Ahmed ended up
mm.
winning an Oscar as well,
I
which
didn't
I
even
was
see
just
that.
like,
What Oscar? I missed it.
you know what,
I
Devout.
missed it.
Yeah. So the next day or so, I caught the show. I started watching it. I was like, hang on a second. I went through the winners list, and it was like Riz Ahmed. I was like, what?
Oscar for what?
He directed he starred in and he directed a short film, and that won
Oh,
an Oscar.
okay. Is it? Oh, that's wicked.
I tell you what, man, that guy's talented.
Mm.
He's a
My
musician as
man
well.
from
He's a
Harrow,
singer.
yeah? The
Yeah,
Harrow or Wembley he's
exactly.
from. In
I
northwest
know.
London.
Northwest London. So yeah, if you can catch the Oscars show,
Mm,
watch it, whatever, and like there are some good memorable moments in there. But obviously, the whole Will Smith thing that overshadows
mm.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is what it is, and well done, Dakota. All right, listen, Devout, I want to quickly mention this. Right, okay,
Mm.
so we know that the Batman that was released on the 5th of March, whatever, it's been doing really, really well. I just want to just pull these numbers out, right? So far, Batman has done over 330 million at the domestic box office.
Wow. Okay. That's decent.
Domestic.
Okay.
So the Batman has surpassed Iron Man 2, Deadpool 2, Thor Ragnarok domestically, And check this out. According to Forbes, it's also expected to pass films like Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man Homecoming, and The Joker at the domestic box office in the coming days.
Serious.
It's
Oh,
doing.
Spider-Man Homecoming, but not Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Okay. Okay.
Spider-Man Homecoming. Um, and that just basically shows. So this movie has done better
Mm,
than Dawn of Justice. I think
mm,
it's on track to take over Wonder Woman. Um,
mm.
so clearly we're going to get a sequel, man.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I think it was a decent film. Good,
Yeah.
different Batman. Good take. Good sound. I think it was a decent film. I wouldn't mind getting a second one. Wouldn't mind it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. And I think he's up for it as well. From the interviews that I've seen of
Mm,
Robert Pattinson, he's like, yeah, we've got some ideas that we want to go with, and we can definitely get a sequel out there. So watch this space, folks. There definitely, probably most likely will be one. Now, listen, raise your hand, please do. Like if you're a Game of Thrones fan, Deval and I are. We
oh,
watched
yep,
that movie, we
yep,
watched that
yep,
show like
yep.
religiously. But check this
Hmm.
out. HBO has revealed that the Game of Thrones prequel series House of the Dragon will premiere, Deval,
Oh shit! I
on
forgot about that. That's
August
soon. August. I thought
August.
it was April.
No,
Oh,
this is August the 21st, 2022. So we still got a while left yet, but we've
mm,
got a date. Like we know it's coming. Basically, summer.
yeah.
Well, for you guys, summer.
So it's
Uh,
not winter's coming. Summer's coming.
Summer's coming. Um, and we're going to start getting trailers. We're going to start getting new images. We're going to start getting
Mm,
plot lines, and
mhm.
synopsises, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, um,
Targaryens.
exactly. And Matt Smith,
Mm,
who we're going to speak about in Morbius, he's in this as well. So yeah,
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, there's a connection there to the movie. So if you're fans of that, go check that out. And finally, on movie news, we got to mention this one. Yeah, a bit of sad news
Yeah.
here. Bruce Willis has retired from acting. And yeah, man, I read about this and I was just like, shit, what's going on over here? Like, it's a medical condition that he's suffering from, and
Mm,
he's apparently being diagnosed with something called aphasia, which is a
yeah.
language disorder caused by brain damage that
Mm,
affects a person's ability to communicate.
mm,
So he
yeah.
now can't do the one thing that he loves to do, which is act.
Yeah.
So his family put out a statement and they're saying, look, he's basically decided to retire from acting, which is shit,
Mm.
man. We're not going to get no more yippee from
True.
him.
Yeah. It's a shame, but I mean, at the same time, he's done a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
Moonlighting, Die Hard, what's it called with Tarantino?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, sorry, a whole bunch of films, Expendables. You could name them all, and he's
Oh,
been working.
loads.
I heard crazy hard over the past few years, bringing out movies in the cinema, but also straight to DVD.
Yes.
So even though maybe he can't act anymore, maybe he can still work behind the scenes. Who knows? So hopefully he'll still be able to still be involved in film in one way or another. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens with that one. Yeah. So yeah, go check out a Bruce Willis movie if you can. All right,
Yeah,
okay, let's move on to the new on streaming now. This is interesting. This is called The Bubble. This is on Netflix.
yeah.
And Devaldo, tell us about this one.
Yeah, this one's got a mad cast list. It's got Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones, the
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I actually always forget his real name. I just know him as
Pedro.
Pedro Pascal. That's it.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, Karen Gillan. It's got just so many people, so many to mention. But it's a film about making a film, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
they're all the bubble. I guess is there to represent the situation that a lot of us have been in over the past couple of years. We've all been, locked down, we've all been isolating and things like that. And I think this film tries to play on those sorts of
Yeah.
emotions, feelings, situations in the film landscape. This is quite different to, I guess, other films that we've seen. I guess they want to bring us into, or they want to bring the film into real life, situations. Because many films that have come out on TV shows and so on, even though they were made during COVID and all those restrictions, we don't really see it on screen, do we?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess maybe
Absolutely.
this is something a bit different. It's on Netflix anyway, and it's something that I haven't watched it myself, but I'm gonna watch at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth a watch. So go give it a watch.
Go give it watch. Judd Apatow. If you like
Yeah.
his movies, then yeah, you might enjoy this one. All right. Devout. I mean, come on, man. The
Mm,
month of March. This is Marvel's
mm,
month as well, because we finally saw the release of Moon Knight,
mm,
and yeah, we've got a couple of things that we want to kind of mention about this. If you don't know, the next in like kind of phase of the the Marvel Cinematic Universe is kind of here. So we've got Moon Knight, which we've spoken about on the show, quite a bit, and Marvel have been teasing this,
yeah,
and it stars Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke?
yeah. Ethan
Was it
Hawke's in
Ethan
it. Yeah,
Hunt?
yeah.
Yeah,
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan
Yeah,
Hawke.
Mission Impossible. Even Ethan Hunt,
Sorry,
isn't it?
yeah, sorry, yeah. Ethan Hunt is Mission Impossible, but yeah, Ethan Hawke and
Mm,
Devout. Yeah, man, it's almost like as if when I watched the first episode of WandaVision, we kind of like, okay, you don't know exactly what you're gonna get.
mm, mm,
Marvel are taking us into kind of like a new direction, and it's kind of like fun, it's interesting, it's set in London, and this mad character called Stephen, and he's got a split personality, but he's also like this
mm,
supposed to be this kind of like superhero. And what I really really liked about it was the direction that I took it with him being like British. They
mm.
his accent and everything. There was maybe one moment, because I was listening properly to his accent, and I was just like, okay, is how well is he actually going to pull off
Mm,
this kind of accent? There was just maybe one moment where it kind of faltered a little bit, but on the whole, I got to say he does pull off the kind of
mm.
accent. Um, this thing that he says, "Latest Gators." Deva, have you ever heard anyone say "Latest Gators" in England?
Nah.
That's not something that we say, is it?
Nah. His accent does sound a little bit like Victorian almost. Sounds a bit
Yeah.
old. Doesn't sound very modern, but I guess that's just his way of executing the, London
Yeah.
accent, English
I mean,
accent.
props to him though. Props to them
Yeah.
for allowing him to say, "You look like a knob." There's a scene in
Yeah.
there's a scene in where he's looking in the mirror. He's got some clothes on. And he goes, "You look like a knob," and it was just
Mm.
so funny, like to kind of see that. But I mean, what did you make of the first episode? We know that there's obviously going to be more. There's going to be 5 more episodes.
Yeah.
Um, and we do finally, spoiler alert over here, we do get to see Moon Knight at
Mm-hmm.
some point in the episode. But yeah, what did you make of it, man?
I thought it was interesting. I liked it.
Yeah,
I've got no real bad sort of, take on it. Nothing bad to say on it yet. It was introducing a whole new character to the MCU. They had 38 minutes to do it. They did it quite well. They showed us, his dissociative identity disorder,
yeah,
which is a real thing that happens, and people suffer from that, condition with multiple personalities. So they're really showing us, the mental health side of things, mixed in with the superhero side of things, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how we can, deal with that conflict. The one character who's a bit of an oddball. You got the Mark Spector, who's a
yeah.
mercenary. You got a
He's the
couple of other
badass.
characters in there too. There's going to see, he's got battles, internal and external battles. So, and this is all linked to Egyptian mythology and again real life stuff as well. We're dealing with. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out on screen. Marvel's got a lot to juggle with this series, and I think in 6 episodes, if they do it right, this could be a real smash hit for Disney Plus. So
Yeah.
I want to see
I was
more.
reading something really interesting about this idea of Moon Knight and Khonshu, which is the Egyptian god,
Mm,
that when Kang the Conqueror has tried to do certain things,
mhm.
Khonshu has been there. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but could like Moon Knight, play into kind of dealing with Kang the Conqueror later on when obviously we see kind of more of that. It's
Mm.
possibility they could be setting up Moon Knight for him to appear in other kind of movies or shows or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's it called again? Midnight Suns or something,
Yes.
with Blade, Doctor Strange, and all the other sort of darker, mystical characters. I think Moon Knight could really blend in with those characters going forward. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good
I was
times.
surprised though that they didn't, because normally with the other shows they release episodes 1 and number 2 together, but they didn't with this one.
Yeah, yeah. I think because there's only 6 episodes, and maybe they want to stretch it out until Obi-Wan comes out in May. So possibly that could be the reason why.
Yeah. Not only that,
Yeah.
5th of May is Doctor Strange.
Oh, mate.
So this
Oh,
is going to lead us. This is going to lead us up to Doctor Strange, basically, isn't it?
yeah.
Because we've
I
got
think
5
so.
more weeks
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, folks, get on this. Go watch. Go check out Moon Knight and let us know what you think. All right. New on trainers. New on trailers. We've got a movie called Hatching, which sounds like eggs. Chickens maybe coming out of eggs. Deval,
What
maybe.
came first, chicken or the egg?
Great question. This one that is stumped.
So this is a horror
Keeper full of
film. This
neons.
this looks like an interesting film. This there is a bit of egg play in this, and basically it's a film about a young gymnast who's really trying to please her parents and so on. She discovers a strange egg type thing, and what lurks in the egg
Oh my gosh.
turns out to be something quite monstrous. That's all I can say. When you see the
Damn.
fangs that she gets, it's so this one again lends into some of the films we're going to talk about later,
Yeah.
werewolves and vampires. But this one here, it does seem like a bit of a weird film, and I like weird films. This one
You
here is a
love weird.
Scandinavian. I want to say Scandinavian. Finnish, sort of Swedish. This is Finnish actually. Yeah, this is the Finnish film. So again, something a bit international. It's not always about UK and USA.
Well,
So
exactly.
yeah, so this one looks interesting. The trailer just came out 2 minutes long, so go catch this one if you can. It's called Hatching.
Mm, mm.
Hmm.
Sounds
What's
interesting, that
hatching?
one.
What's
What's
hatching?
hatching? What you got hatching? Um, all right, so those are your trailers, and that is new on streaming. Now let's move over to Anniversary Corner. And listen,
Hmm.
look, this is a great little kind of segue, into the movies that we're going to be speaking about. This is Blade 2 from
Yep,
2002,
yep.
and
That's 20 years ago. Shit. Yeah.
great movies like Blade 1 and Blade 2 seriously
Mhm.
are, they're my favorite. Wesley, not forget Wesley Slight movies, they're just my favorite kind of like comic book movie film
Mm,
adaptation. Blade is such a badass character,
yeah.
and Wesley Snipes was he was
He was
brilliant,
made for
like
Blade. He was made for
really, really
Blade.
good.
Yeah.
And did you see him on the Oscars? He's lost a lot of weight,
Yeah,
man.
he has, isn't it? Yeah. So, it's funny. I don't know, obviously, what people are going through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I did think to myself, does he look okay? I don't know why.
Yes.
I did get that. Maybe that's me being judgmental. I don't know, but I thought, oh,
Yeah.
is he okay, kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. He looks different. Yeah, he
Yeah, yeah.
does.
And if
Mm,
you go back and obviously you go, revisit these movies and stuff, and he
mm.
was peak, like this is his peak. He was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he was commanding like huge salary,
yeah.
like he was one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood at that time. He's
Hmm.
rubbing shoulders with Stallone, with Arnold
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger, with Bruce
yeah,
Willis, and all that sort of stuff. Jean-Claude Van Damme, he was up there. And Blade 2 carries on with the story. Obviously,
yeah.
if you're kind of like familiar with the Blade story. um Norman Reedus, Devour. Did you know
Yeah,
Daryl's in
from
this?
from from Walking Dead, he was in this as well as Chris
Yeah,
Christopherson. I think this is one that was directed by Guillermo del Toro.
yes,
This one's got Ron Perlman in it as well,
yeah,
and this was my favorite of the trilogy.
yeah.
I
It's
think
really
for me,
good.
this had the vampires with the mouths that really go out like that,
Yeah.
and there was a really really good action film carried on from the first Blade. And not many people know this, but a bit of a nugget from the first Blade. There was a end of credit scene that they took out from the first Blade, and
Oh,
the end of credit scene showed none other than Michael Morbius standing in distance, looking at Blade. They cut that out, but yeah, Michael Morbius
damn.
technically has shown up in a Marvel film. But yeah, Michael Morbius and Blade, they go back. Obviously,
Yeah.
vampires and stuff like that.
Yep.
There's definitely a connection there, which is why we put it in the anniversary corner. So yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go check that one out, man. I mean, and Devour, I don't know if you remember
Mm.
this, but do you remember the boy band from in the 80s, Bros?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Luke Goss. Luke Goss was in Blade 2, wasn't it? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
He
He
done really
plays the
well.
villain.
Yes,
And there's that fight scene at the end, which is
really good,
brilliant.
really
Brilliant,
good. He
brilliant fight scene. Goes on
he
for a
was really
long
good in this.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, really,
Luke
really
Goss
good.
was really good in
And it
this.
stars I don't know, also know this,
Donnie Yen's in it as well.
Donnie Yen's in it as well. It stars Leonor Varela. She's a Chilean actress.
How is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so that was kind of whenever I was in Chile, I was like, oh, like,
Oh.
they would say, oh, do you know this actress? And I was like,
Mm.
no, who's that actress? And they were like, oh, she was in Blade 2. And I was like, really, serious, her? Yeah, so
Mm.
she was kind of like a bit of a thing there.
Okay.
But go check it out.
Cool. Nice one.
Um, yeah, from 2002, that one, which leads us nicely into the movie that we're going to speak about.
Yes.
Devout obviously mentioned Morbius. They have a connection, obviously, Blade being this vampire and a vampire hunter. Morbius gets bitten by a vampire bat. And yeah, man. So listen, before we kind of start off, we just got to say this. There was no high expectation for this movie, Deval, right? Is that fair to say?
It was low. It was low. It was low.
Big
Lower
time.
than the Lombarda, like someone said to
Exactly.
me once.
Trust me, seriously. So this movie
Lombarda
was supposed
low.
to come out January of this year. And then it was supposed to come out in like September of last year. But even
Yeah.
before that, it was supposed to have come out in April of like last year. So it's been delayed so many
Mm.
times. And I guess now we know the reason why is because I think so many people must have seen this movie and thought, no, we need to change something. We need to change. This isn't working, and
Yeah.
we need to maybe do some reshoots, or this isn't, something's going on miss over here.
Mm.
And obviously there was COVID and that obviously delayed things. But oh my gosh, Duvaldo, this movie is all over the place. And here's the reason why it's sad is because Morbius is such a great character.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a great character. And his
He's a good
backstory is
character.
really
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good kind of story. Michael Morbius, he has this kind of blood disorder and he's had this from such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of spends the rest of his life trying to find a cure, not only for himself, but a cure for other people around him as well. So he's
Yeah.
actually really a good guy.
Yeah.
And then he comes across this kind of this idea of traveling out to a different country, Costa Rica. They put it in the movie,
Mm.
and he ends up in some bat cave. There's like thousands and thousands of bats. And here's the thing, Devaldo, the first thing that we see is he puts his hand out
Mm.
to
Yeah.
get bitten by the bat. What was that? I don't get all that. What was that
And
all
I think he
for?
was luring the bats into that kind of cage thing because
Yeah,
he cut his hand, and I think the blood from his hand brought the bats to the cave to the cage. But we didn't see him actually close the cage and take those bats back to the lab. They didn't
yeah.
show it. So that was a bit disjointed. I didn't understand it really, but I sort of put the pieces together afterwards. Yeah, it wasn't done well. The story didn't really connect.
And why weren't they attacking him like they were attacking the other people?
I don't know.
Seriously, we just don't know. It's one of those kind of like
I don't know.
it's an unknowable thing, right? So then it kind of the movie then kind of goes back in time to when Michael Morbius is a kid, and he kind of meets his best friend Milo. Is it Milo or Lucian or so? I can't even remember now.
Lucian's his actual name, but his nickname's Milo.
Milo, yeah, his nickname is Milo, and then you kind of see this relationship, how they look after each other, and they defend each other and they stick up for each other and all this sort of stuff. And then Michael, he gets the opportunity. He's really clever. He can solve kind of like complex equations, and like he's this kind of like basically this genius. He gets offered the opportunity to go to New York. And then to kind of, he gets a scholarship, and he then becomes Dr.
Did you
Michael.
remember? I think the teacher, his teacher said, "Oh, there's a school for the gifted in New York." I was thinking,
Yes.
is that X-Men?
Is that X-Men? Could it be X-Men or something like that? We just
Yeah.
maybe, who knows? So then he goes off to the school, and then obviously 25, 30 years later, wherever we
Mm,
see him, he's like obviously still got this condition and he's working on this experiment, this highly kind of illegal,
mm,
irregular, unorthodox experiment that he's doing with bats. Michael Morbius thinks that the blood within the bats can help, his disorder, and
mm,
what, like all those types of movies like The Fly,
mm.
those movies where they have like humans experimenting on themselves.
It all goes wrong, doesn't it? Always. When
It,
has it gone
it
right?
always goes wrong. Even Spider-Man
Mm,
with what's his name, with Green Goblin.
yeah.
That
yeah,
that whole thing about kind of experimenting on self,
yeah,
and
yeah.
even goes back to Frankenstein. With the kind
Yes,
of like
yeah,
doing this whole
yeah.
kind of doctors trying to mess with evolution, and
Playing
it all
God.
comes back to bite you
Mm-mm,
on the arse.
mm-mm.
So fast forward, the experiment goes wrong, but it somehow gives Michael Morbius superhuman powers,
Mm.
and he's able to use echolocation. He's able to kind of, have this enormous strength, and that kind of follows the kind of comics. But Deval, that's basically kind of the setup, right? It's an origin story. He fights a bad guy in there. He saves the day. There's a dark side to him and there's a light side to him, and we kind of get that. But tell us about the execution. Speak to us and speak to kind of like the people who are listening about the execution. How did it all go down for you?
For me, I think Marvel has some great characters. Michael Morbius from the Spider-Man cartoons in the 90s was a great character. He was
Yeah,
conflicted. He meant well, but it turned out not so well. In this one, when he got his powers, for me, they made him too powerful for me. Let's
yeah.
just not cut. Let's cut to the chase. He was way too powerful. I don't see how a bat can. I
How does it
mean,
have that much power?
the guy's like flipping the Flash. He's like
Yes.
Spider Man. He's like Venom because he does. I don't know what kind of weird like things that happen. He can. There's bits where he can fly. I don't know
Yeah.
why. He's got mad hearing powers. He got echolocation, like you said.
Yeah.
This guy's dodging bullets like he's in Matrix. I
Yes.
mean, I don't know why they thought a bat could make this guy have so many powers. I think the execution for me was way too. He was more powered than the guy in the cartoon.
Trust me,
Like
it was.
overpowered, and I think they should have focused a bit more on the character and given him
Yeah.
powers that maybe he builds up to some sort of powerful level.
Yeah.
He assumed these powers way too quickly and was able to utilize them way too quickly as well.
Yeah.
He just knew, like, for that sort of ability, you got to train, man. You got to. This guy just woke up and he's dodging
He
bullets and
knows
he's
how to do
killing
it
eight
all.
people and it's fine.
Yeah.
He killed eight people. He's a mass murderer. I mean,
Trust me.
it's just and I don't think Jared Leto is bad in this. I think he is actually a
Yeah.
good Michael Morbius. He looks the part, and if
Yep.
he was given a Marvel Studios script, he would have done all
Oh
right. But I
man.
think Sony, again, they doing these microwave films, man. Like Spider
I
Man's
love
good
that. I
because
love that
Disney,
microwave films.
yeah, Spider Man's good because Disney have got creative control. This
Yeah.
shows you Sony's creative lack of control. This film, for
Oh,
me, my expectations were Lombardo low, and I ended up scraping the floor and hurting my back. That's what happened with this film. I mean, how does that happen?
that's wicked.
How does that happen? And Matt Smith's character, it's just
Oh man.
unconvincing.
I know.
Unconvincing. Just he seemed petulant. The final fight between them two was over like that,
Over
and there
within
wasn't much
seconds.
to it. It just it was disappointing.
I know.
I don't know what else to say.
But
The
not
only good
only
thing
this.
about this film is that they only cost them I think it was 45 million to make from what I
Oh,
heard. So they might get their money back and some. So that's the only thing. It might be a financial success, but critical success, I doubt it.
not
Nope.
panned. I mean, the reviews came in a couple of days ago, and I kind of try. I try to, I shy away from kind of like watching the reviews because I want to
Mm,
make my own opinion and stuff like that. But I
yeah,
kind of the few kind of like headings that I saw, it was just like the worst like Sony movie,
yeah,
and it just makes you. It just goes to show you, right? When Sony work with Marvel, they produce Spider Man.
yeah.
Homecoming, No Way Home, Far From Home, like those types of movies. And when they go alone, exactly what you said, they're poor, man. Now, here's my thing. They've got Craven the Hunter is
Mm.
coming out. My expectations are flipping Lombardo low and like,
Mm.
even below that. So, I mean, it's just like, where are they taking with this? Can they not pinch some of the writers from Marvel and or like just say, hey, look, can we use your writers?
I think they need to have that Spider-Man agreement. That's what I think. They need to get
Yeah.
on that level because that way it'll be a success financially and critically. Sony are too stubborn. They've got shit. It's almost like that kid in the park who's got the ball and
Won't
doesn't
won't
want
let
to
you
let
play
anyone
with it.
play with the ball, but they themselves can't play football. And they rather just hold the ball because it's their ball. I mean,
Exactly. I
go
know.
home.
It's
Yeah.
seriously, like there needs to some sort of kind of like trending on Twitter, like I don't know, like
Mm,
give it back to Marvel, like give some of those characters back.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? They teased through this trailer. There's
Ah,
this image of Michael Morbius.
yeah.
He's walking, and there was like a picture of Spider-Man, and a lot
Spider
of people were
Man. He
thinking,
meets Michael Keaton. Didn't wasn't even there, was it? Where was it?
"Oh,
Uh,
this
and
is
I don't even care about spoiling this, but at the end there's the post credit scenes. Michael Keaton's there as Vulture because he's come through the cracks in
from
Doctor Strange
Doctor Strange."
and Spider-Man. I know Doctor Strange, put the cracks in the sky and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Obviously, Michael Keaton's characters now come into the Morbius world, and it looks
yeah,
like they're going to work together in the future. I hope Michael Keaton just cancels that contract and doesn't do it because that doesn't seem
exactly.
like it's going to be a good film.
But even the CGI, did you notice the CGI when the sky opened up? It was shit.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
terrible. And
yeah,
it was so clunky. And then he's like, hey, like, I've heard
yeah,
a lot about you, and maybe
mm,
like we should work together. And then Michael Morbius is like, oh, I'm intrigued. And it's just
yeah.
like, okay, so they're trying to set up the Sinister Six, and like, okay,
Uh,
so the Craven the Hunter. So they're doing these things, Matt. You know
mm,
what? It's so poor. So far, this movie has done worse than Venom and Venom 2.
okay.
Critically. I
Yeah,
mean, Venom with Venom, the first one, that was like a box office hit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. This one, like I said, because it was quite cheap to make, it might do okay, but yeah, people are not going to be talking about this very positively. So it's a shame. It's a shame. It is what it is.
Oh man, seriously. So with this one, definitely, like I'd probably say, don't bite with this one.
Mm,
Go check out Blade 2. Like seriously, go check
yeah,
out the Blade
yeah, yeah, yeah,
movies.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and like we'll
Mm.
that's our recommendation. Devout. I mean, we're hitting the kind of coming up to the 45-minute mark. I mean,
Yeah,
I reckon we should leave. I mean.
do it. You
All
want?
right, all right.
Mm.
Let me try and fit this one in for like in the next like kind of 4 minutes, right? So on the heels of Morbius, I thought, right, okay, so we've got this kind of this vampire-ish type of a character. Let me flip the script a bit and let me watch this movie called The Cursed.
Mm.
And like we've had The Wolfman. Do you remember that Benicio
Hmm.
del Toro movie? That was
Mhm.
great. I love a great wolf story, like American Werewolf in London. I think that was really good.
Ooh.
And do you remember we watched this kind of like this independent movie where this sheriff in a small town, the people start dying, and then he has to figure out who the murderer is, and the murderer was a werewolf, and it was based
Oh,
off of a
that was like a
game.
comedy kind of film, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, do
yeah, I
you
remember
remember
that
that
one. Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember the
yeah.
name of it, but we like a good kind of like horror comedy, or like horror movie. I like a good werewolf movie. So I heard about this film, and I thought, oh, this looks kind of interesting. It's set in the 1800s. It's got that kind of
Mm.
the Wolfman vibe to it, and it stars Boyd Holbrook. Do you remember him from Narcos?
Yeah, the blonde guy, and he was in Wolverine,
He was in
Logan.
Wolverine. Yeah,
Logan.
he was in Wolverine in that one. Well, he plays. He does a pretty decent English accent in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kind of plays a pathologist, this doctor who's he kind of comes to this small village town where there's
Mm.
been some like mysterious deaths,
Mm.
and but let me just quickly mention this. Before this, the movie starts off in World War I, in the Battle of the Somme, and this guy is a captain. He's leading, his men fighting the Germans, and they go over the barricade and they go into the fire, and he gets
Mm.
shot and he gets taken into a tent, and the doctor's like, "Captain, I'm going to try and save you." Starts pulling out bullets, pulls out one bullet, pulls out a second bullet, and then the third bullet. He's like, "What the hell is this?" And it's a silver bullet that he
Oh
pulls
shit.
out of the man,
Mm.
and then the movie fades to black, and then it goes back in time 80 years to the 1830s, and then we're in this kind of area where
Mm.
we've got a rich family, and they've got lots of land and some Romany people, but in the movie they refer to them as gypsies. So like, kind of these gypsies, they come to a piece of land and they're like, "This is our land," and the kind of the landowners, they they decide that they don't want to give the land to them, even though that land does belong to the travelers.
Okay.
And so the head of this family pays some people and says, like, listen, I want them off my land. And there's this brutal scene where they basically massacre the whole, like, the travelers, the Romani people. And they do some really, really awful things. They get one guy, they chop his hands off, they chop his feet off, they put him up, and they put some straw in his feet and legs and hands, and they make him look like a scarecrow. It's like really, really kind of brutal. But before they kill the woman, she puts a curse on the whole kind of like settlement and the whole town. And then after that point, the kids, they start basically having the same dream. They start seeing the woman, they start seeing the scarecrow, and shit goes really, really bad. And before you know it, there's a beast running around and killing people and ripping people
Beast,
and
you know.
eating people. And yeah, it's the special effects are really good. It's a low budget independent movie, and man, it doesn't, in some places it doesn't look like a low budget movie. Like, they did really, really well with the production. And you know what, it's a decent horror movie. There's some bits in there which I was like, oh shit, man, I was groaning. I was like, nah, come on, man, you can't do that. There's a couple of things which are a bit repetitive, but on the whole, as a kind of beast movie, as kind of like this werewolf kind of trope, it's decent. It's got enough scares in there. It's got enough kind of practical special effects for you to go, okay, that's really interesting. I haven't actually seen that. The way that they designed the beast, I'm not going to give anything away, but the way that they designed the beast is quite different to what we might have seen previously. And like I said before, they got Boyd Holbrook. He kind of plays this kind of the hero type, and he's there to kind of save the day. He kind of knows what's going on because he's got some history with the gypsies and kind of the beast and everything like that. So if you're looking for an alternative to the vampire flick, maybe go for a beast werewolf type of a movie, then go check out The Cursed.
I just, I downloaded that just this morning when I saw it on the list, and I like the look of it already, and just the way you've described it. I think it's my kind of film. I like these films, Sometimes these sorts of films, they need to be big budget. They're better when they're more intimate and a bit more, So I think I'm gonna have to watch this one. I'm gonna have to watch this one.
Give this one a go. Give this one a go. It's not kind of like up there with American Werewolf in London and I'm a huge fan of The Wolfman, by the way, even though that didn't do critically well. But it's the vibe to it, the way that they filmed it, and the location and the production and everything like that, it lends to it kind of, the atmosphere of it as well. So yeah, go check it out if you can. And if you do watch it, folks, let us know. And that's it. That's all we've got time for on this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Deval, any major movies that we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks?
Next week, we're going to talk crypto. So there's a documentary that we're going to talk about next week, which is all about crypto. And if you guys don't know, we actually... we like crypto. We do. We do like it, but also we're ready to learn as well and find out anything more about crypto that we can. We might get a guest in next week to help us talk about this, crypto documentary and the whole space in general. And then we may throw in another couple of surprises in there too next week. So keep it locked. Find out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and let us know what's going on. What do you want? What do you want? Let us know.
What more do you want? Yeah, exactly. All right, that's enough, man. Right, take it easy, and I will see you next week.
Till next time. Peace out.
All right, are we we live?
We are live and direct, actually.
Live and direct.
Live.
A pretty.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.